Hey everybody, we are back with part 2 of 2-point perspective basics, and this is what we left with at the end of part 1. Don't be concerned if yours doesn't look exactly like it. Remember that your cube is going to be different depending on where you place it on the paper, whether it's close to the vanishing points or the horizon line or close to the top or the bottom of the paper. Keep in mind that as long as you're following the same steps, then it's okay. And remember, quick refresher on the steps, vertical lines first that represent the corner of the cube, lines back to the vanishing point on each side, and then more vertical lines to end it. If it is above or below the horizon line, remember you're going to see this plane here, the bottom or the top of the cube. And then in that case, you're going to use your opposite points to create that. Now, if you have not watched part 1 of this video series, I highly recommend you go back. You might be able to copy this just by looking at it, but you won't know the steps needed to proceed. So definitely go back and watch that. Also, I apologize for any distortion of the camera. Sometimes it makes my vertical lines look not so vertical. And again, I apologize for that. Not much I can do about the camera at this point. Okay, so today we're going to learn how to split a form, and we're going to learn how to do a pyramid. Splitting the form is a little more difficult, so we're going to tackle that first. It's not hard though. All right, I've got my straight edge here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to this side of the cube right here, to this face of it, and I'm going to draw a few lines down here to the right vanishing point. So I line up my straight edge with my point, and let's see. Let's go ahead and draw a line here, and then I'm just going to pivot down, and again, straight edges on the point, and I'm going to draw a second line just like that. Those are my dividing lines. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Okay, starting here where these lines intersect, and I'm using my left vanishing point because I'm using the left side of the cube. So I draw that down like that. And I am so sorry because my hand just covered that. I knew it was awkward. So I'm drawing right there. Sorry about that. Now, I told you these videos were not professional by any means. And let's do it this way so you can see. Okay. So I've created 4 lines there. Those are my lines that are splitting this cube. So again, I'm going to go in here and I'm going to get rid of these lines that still connect the cube. I'm going to do my best. I apologize again. I press too hard, shakes the camera. Okay. So I've gotten rid of those lines. Now think back to when you learned how to draw this cube. It's above your horizon line. Because it's above your horizon line, you're going to see the bottom of it. Now, with this part of the cube taken away, it's like you've got another cube up here. So you're going to see the bottom of this. So how do you do it? Opposite points again. I'm going to go to this corner, this little intersection here, and I will line it up with my point on the right. Now, if it were transparent, I would draw this all the way down, but it's not, so I start right there. I draw just a short line until I hit the solid part of the object, just like that. Then I go over here and I line it up with this point. It's going to make a lot more sense once it's drawn in. But there you go. So now this whole area under here, and you don't have to shade it in, but you can if it helps you. This is underneath this form. Okay, let's do that again. I'm going to go back here, about right there. I'm going to line up with my right vanishing point, bring it down there, and I'm going to draw 2 lines that line up with my vanishing points, like that and like that. And remember, if they're on this side, they're going to the right point. If they're on this side, going to the left point. I always tell people, if you're not sure, try both points. One will make more sense than the other. Okay. Try not to block the camera. Draw a line there. Line this one with the vanishing point as well. Maybe. And like that. Alright, I've got my dividing lines. I erase the lines that connect them. I'm afraid I've drawn the center line a little too dark, so that's going to be kind of hard to erase. I will do my best on that. It's a pretty soft eraser, so. Okay, so you see the situation, okay, where you've got another form right here floating in air. And because it's above my eye level, I've got to put a bottom in there. So just like I did with this one, go to this corner, line that up with a vanishing point, like that, and then go to this corner and line it up with the right point. Remember that anytime you're doing the tops or the bottoms of the cube, you're going to use the opposite points there. Try to get rid of that line right there by shading. Okay. If you have any questions about how that's done, just go ahead and post it in the comments and we'll go from there. Hopefully yours is a little neater than mine. Let's go ahead and split a form that's below the horizon line and see if there are any big differences in that. We're going to split this form here, and again, draw my lines on the right side, lined up with the right vanishing point. I always told my students, you can't get away from those points. They're really important. You know, even if you're drawing freehand and you're drawing a house or you're drawing a building or a city street, you're going to pay attention to the perspective. You know, it may not be as mechanically done as this, but, you know, it just gives you a good idea. These basics are great for freehand drawing as well. And again, once you do enough of it, you won't even think about it. It's kind of ingrained in you to consider the perspective. I'm having issues here with my computer being right beside me. Okay, and again, line it up. So I've divided this one. Let me try this eraser, see if it'll work better. Kind of leaves a mark. Yeah, let's go back to my good eraser. Good way to ruin a drawing with a bad eraser. Okay, I'm getting rid of my lines that attach the two pieces. Okay, there we are. Now look at the difference between this one and this one. All right, again, this is above my eye level, above my horizon line, so I see underneath. This one is below my horizon line. So the part that's missing is going to be this part, the top, and that's right there. So again, go to my corner, line it up with the opposite point, which is going to be the left one, and I go till I hit the solid shape. Then I use my right point and line up this corner back here and draw that in. All right, so that's how you split forms. It's not difficult to do. It looks cool when it's done. It makes it look a lot harder than it is. I am going to, just for teaching's sake, split this form, which is both above and below the horizon line. I'll try to do it quickly so we can get pyramids in there as well. Same steps, using my right vanishing point. I draw these lines in, draw it there, and using my left vanishing point, I'm going to put these in. Now, I'll be honest, after you do this enough, you can watch or you can just do it yourself, and you can kind of guess the next step. It'll get to be pretty automatic, and as long as you follow the same steps over and over, it'll work. There are exceptions to the rule, which we'll find out. Alright, so this needs a top right in here. So again, I'm going to use my opposite points. I'm going to go back till I hit the solid. Then I'm going to use the one here on the left, excuse me, on the right. And draw my line this way. And that one goes pretty far. Okay, so here is the bottom, or excuse me, here is the top of this form. Let's do one more, and I apologize, I'm trying to go fast so we can get the pyramids in without it being a really long video. Again, use my vanishing point here. Let's use this one on the left. And one more right here, still lined up with a vanishing point. That one's a little off. We're going to redo those. So much for trying to hurry. It doesn't bother me that they're off, but I'll get a comment from somebody about it. I do love my listeners. I thoroughly enjoy the teaching part of this, and I always love it when someone says, yeah, you know what, that really helped me. You know, I passed my basic drawing class because of that. And that sucker is still off again. Okay. All right, from this corner to the right vanishing point. And then from this corner to the left point. I forgot to erase this one. Okay, now that you know how to split forms, and you're going to be learning how to draw several different types of forms, you should be able to split those too. Again, any questions about it, just leave it in the comments and I'll answer that for you. All right, quickly. Pyramids. This is where you get to break the rules. My high school students loved this because they loved being able to break the rules, even as simple as drawing. All right, we are going to place a vertical right here. Okay, again, making sure it's parallel to all the other verticals. It is on my paper, may not be on the camera. Now, anytime you do a pyramid, you do bottom first. So, we know after we've got the vertical, we have to draw lines back to the vanishing point to create the sides. So I go back here, and then I line with the left vanishing point and go back here. Alright guys, here's where you break the rules. Typically, your lines in a two-point perspective are either vertical or they go back to a point. In this case, you're drawing diagonals. Alright? And diagonals are just diagonals. My students told me they were going to get that put on a shirt for me because I said it to them so many times. All I do is create a diagonal from the top to the bottom with my ruler, and there's my pyramid. See, I saved the easy stuff for last. Let's do a pyramid above the horizon line. Just to end it off here, start with my vertical. Then I go ahead and do the bottom. I line it up with the left vanishing point. I line it up with the right vanishing point. It's going to be a little distorted because it's closer to that right point. Okay, now keep in mind I said you finish the bottom of it first. So let's finish the bottom of this. It's just like the bottom of any of the cubes. Use your opposite points. You've got kind of this odd little structure here. Again, resist the temptation to just connect these, because if I were to just connect those, I extended that line, that totally misses the point there. I used to tell my high school kids, the points are your friends. They thought it was very corny, but that's okay, they paid attention. All right, so in this case, I've got the side, I've got the bottom, and again, I get to break the rules by doing diagonals. And all I do is connect those two corners. Boom. There you go. It would help if I hit the corner, and because I'm really picky and I don't want to hear about it from somebody, I'm going to draw that again. All right. There you go, folks. We've got split forms and we've got pyramids. Move on to part 3, and we're going to learn how to do some openings and some rows and some unusual forms. Eventually, we're going to learn how to do letters, which my students loved to do their names in 2-point perspective.